Oshkosh Media is government programming on GovTV, community programming on Life TV, and community radio on Oshkosh FM 101.9.
Welcome to the City Manager's Report, a look at city updates and a preview of the next Oshkosh Common Council meeting agenda.
How you doing, everybody? Welcome to another edition of the City Manager's Report. My name is Jake Tim, and in a moment, we'll be joined by our City Manager, Mark Roloff. As usual, today we're going to take a look at some hot topics, things going on around our great city, and then we will preview the upcoming Oshkosh Common Council meeting agenda for the meeting on Tuesday, October 22nd. And with that, we bring in our City Manager, Mark Roloff. Mark, as always, thanks for being here.
Great to be here, Jake.
You're stuck with me for one more show. We'll have Andy back next time, it sounds like, but
Absolutely.
We'll take care of business here one more time. So, and speaking of taking care of business, one of the hardest working departments we have right now is our clerk's department. Every election season, obviously, that happens. And early voting is opening up on Tuesday, October 22nd. It's the same day as the Oshkosh Common Council meeting.
Yeah, state law allows us to be open up to 2 weeks before the election. So we start on Tuesday, October 22nd. And just want to remind everybody that early voting takes place at a location that we've had in place for a little while. It's 19 East Irving. That's right at the corner of East Irving and Jefferson Street. And here are the in-person absentee voting. Council asked us to expand the hours a little bit, so we've done that. And you'll see that a couple of the evenings, specifically October 22nd and 28th, will be open from 8:30 a.m. all the way to 7 p.m. So people getting out of work a little late will still be able to head over there. And then the council also asked us to have some Saturday hours, so October 26th, 8 a.m. to 12:30 p.m. And the other days will be 8 a.m. to 4:30, pretty much similar hours to City Hall. And then November 1st, it'll be 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. We go an extra half hour on the last day of in-person voting.
Yeah, and a reminder, Election Day is Tuesday, November 5th. Polls that day are going to be open 7 a.m. to 8 p.m. As always, bring your photo ID. As we see now, some images here, Mark. That's 19 East Irving. That's where folks will go if they're going to do early voting at the hours that you mentioned before. All the information you need about voting is on www.myvote.wi.gov. You can also call our city clerk's office at 236-5011. And one other note, Mark, we talked about this before the show. Absentee voting is still possible at this point, but you're relying on the mail, so it might be better to come in person.
Yeah, you can still request an absentee ballot, but if you request one, you'll need to do so by 5 p.m. on Friday, November 1st, and so that's a real challenge. Then you would likely have to drop it off. Now, we do have the drop-off box at on City Hall, so you put in the slot, it goes right to a secure mailbox, and we'll take care of it there. But if you plan to vote purely absentee, please do it as soon as possible, and don't trust the mail. If you're mailing it very late, your vote may not be able to count. So use the drop box if you do the early absentee voting.
Good advice. Thank you. And for you, please do show up and vote. And if you need more information, again, that website is myvote.wi.gov. All right, Mark, this one's been talked about a little bit on social media. You may have seen a story or two about this in our local media as well. The outlet shops at Oshkosh, we can say the property has been sold.
Yeah, we saw some documentation ourselves that the property at 3001 South Washburn, it's about a 37-acre property. I think mostly everybody in Oshkosh is familiar with where the outlet mall is and everything. And it has been sold to a group that's called W. Oshkosh LLC out of Janesville. And the registry agent for that is Woodman's Corporation. So that Woodman's has purchased it, but we don't have anything on file. We haven't received anything. We haven't had any, even kicking of the tires type of thing in like 2 years. So people can speculate all they want based on this information. We can confirm that based on the records we see, the registered agent of the owner is Woodman's, but we have had no formal plans submitted to the city. All we know that the property's been sold. I can tell you that rumor's been running around town for easily 5 years, but it hasn't risen to a level where I've been brought into any conversations with anybody from Woodman's. My previous community, there was a Woodman's in that community, and I work closely with those people on a variety of issues. I haven't had any contact with any of those people. They're still there. So this is a work in progress at best, and I would just say stay tuned, listen to all the rumor mills, but until we get something formal, it's mere speculation.
Yeah, you would maybe see this on an upcoming plan commission agenda, and then eventually, obviously, a council agenda, and at which point we would talk about it. But like you said, speculation up to this point, so sit tight.
Yep, sit tight, stay tuned.
All right, thank you for that. And another thing we wanted to talk about here, Mark, something with our Oshkosh Fire Department. Recently, one of our folks who takes part in a statewide task force answered the call due to the scary weather down south with the hurricanes.
Yeah, Captain C.J. Weddle is part of a Wisconsin task force that provides flooding assistance. And in this case, this statewide group was asked to come down to help with Hurricane Helene in North Carolina. The task force was deployed on September 27th and returned on October 5th. And this group of 16 people, of which Captain Weddle is one of them, they worked with local first responders and search and rescue teams to assist with what were called swift water searches and gain access to residents in mountain areas that had been cut off. So CJ and his group did a great job of doing some rescues and saved people's lives, and it's a small contribution that we made for that. We get reimbursed by the feds for the time that CJ spends down there, but it's the training that they do year round on swiftwater rescues. So we're very proud of CJ and representing us and saving people down in North Carolina.
Yeah, it really speaks to the quality of folks that we have working in our fire department and across our organization. So happy to say, as you mentioned, that he returned home safely, and very impressive, and we thank him for his efforts. Moving on now, Mark, we're going to talk about a CORP, which a lot of people might not know, stands for the Comprehensive Outdoor Recreation Plan that our Parks Department just released.
Yeah, the CORP, the Comprehensive Outdoor Recreation Plan, that's a formal document that's used to assist communities in planning. Generally, if you want to get a grant for some type of parks program, it needs to be shown in your parks master plan, in this case, the CORP for us. It's an inventory of all of our facilities and with goals and objectives for what we want to achieve and an analysis, and it's a pretty thick document, so we're going to spare you with it and just show you the cover, and it's just recommendations on what's to get done. But essentially what it is, it's a roadmap for the Parks Department for the next 5 years. And every 5 to 10 years, you really need to update your CORP to keep it fresh, keep it relevant, because then the CORP results in the capital improvement plan, which then makes us eligible, as I said, for different grants and everything. Our Parks Director, Ray Maurer, has been very, very aggressive in getting our CORP done, getting it updated, and keeping it relevant. So very proud of the work that our Parks Department's done. And it's a great document. It's online. Check it out.
Yep, it's on the Parks Department website. As you can see here, you click on Park Plans, and you can see there's a bunch of bullets there. So lots for Lakeshore Park, Menominee Park, other plans. But the CORP is the one right there on top, Comprehensive Outdoor Rec Plan, and you can check that out. It's a big document, lots of information. Check it out if you want to learn more. All right, Mark, speaking of parks, the Senior Center is a division of our Parks Department, and they have a big event coming up on the 22nd as well.
It takes place at both of the Senior Center buildings, the north and the south, from 10 a.m. to 12:30 p.m. on the 22nd. The attendees get an opportunity to roam and chat with participants in a whole bunch of different activities. Art enrichment, social, travel, fitness, lifelong learning, support services that relate to being a senior in Oshkosh. For more information, please stop by the Senior Center, 200 North Campbell, or call 232-5300, and follow the Senior Center Facebook page for updates about all the programs that we have. But if you can swing by for the open house on October 22nd, please do.
We've been there a bunch of times. Oshkosh Media has, to see what they have to offer. It's always a really nice event. So
yeah, wonderful.
Stop by and learn more. All right, another thing, Mark, that we wanted to mention to folks, in case you're interested in serving on a city board, commission, or committee, there are many of them that have openings right now.
Yeah, we sure do. And, we update this on a regular basis. So as of today, these are the vacancies that we have available right now. We have our Board of Review, our Board of Zoning Appeals, our bid board, our Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion, our DEI Committee, our Long Range Finance Committee, Plan Commission, and the Sustainability Advisory Board. All of these commissions, are looking for members. Some may be alternate members, but even alternate members have a very active role because somebody doesn't show up, and then suddenly you're a voting member. So, some great way to get involved in the community, and just try out a little bit of public service. If you want to learn more or to apply, you can contact Cammie, my executive assistant, at 236-5002, or you can look up online. The application's online. You can fill out an online application, and the mayor reviews them and brings recommendations forward to the city council. So, please sign up and give a little something back to your community. And I think it's a very rewarding experience.
Yeah, and if you saw one of those boards and commissions that you're interested in serving on, you can do what Mark said. Just go to the city website, mouse over government, and click on boards and commissions. You can see all of them there. Or if you're looking for more information, 236-5002, and ask for Camu. She's very helpful. All right, Mark, another procedural thing that happens every year, the city budget workshops are coming up, and that it starts off on the 28th and 29th with the all-day sessions.
Yeah, I'm delivering the budgets to the council very shortly, and then the council has 2 all-day sessions. And in this case, it'll be Monday, Tuesday, October 28th and 29th. We do these live, so starting at 8 a.m., usually running until about 4:30 on each of those days. So you can watch them on all the locations you can find Oshkosh Media, but you're also welcome to check out a copy of the budget. There's one in the clerk's office here at City Hall. A better option for you, because there's more convenient hours, the library will also have at least one copy for people to take a look at if they're interested. But on the workshop day, you're going to see departments making presentations. Council will be asking a lot of questions to get insight and thoughts into things that are going on, and you'll get some initial feedback from council on things they want to see, and you get to watch that all live on Oshkosh Media.
Yeah, and then after that process plays out, obviously there's more discussion about the budget, and then the final budget workshop, if needed, and the public hearing for the budget will take place on Wednesday, November 6th. And that's a change because we would normally do this on a Tuesday.
Right, because of Election Day, it'll be moved to November 6th at 5 p.m. We typically have the public hearing first, and then afterwards, based on public input, council at that final work session may say, we'd like this done or that done, and we make some final changes because the budget will finally be approved on Tuesday, November 12th. So that's typically when the budget's adopted. So it gives the council one more chance to make amendments based on public input, and then they have a whole other week before they make the final decision.
And you can catch, like Mark said, you can see on your screen as well, you can catch all of those budget workshops for the city on Oshkosh Media Gov TV, streaming live on oshkoshmedia.org, and all those places that you see on your screen right now. And if you can't catch them, they'll be recorded and they'll be on the Oshkosh Media YouTube channel following those days. So stay informed, stay involved, and if you want to learn more about the budget, you'll have plenty of opportunities to do so. All right, Mark. There's an event coming up at the Oshkosh Public Museum, and I'm going to let you tell everybody what it is.
Yep, it's the 3rd annual Dia de los Muertos at the Oshkosh Public Museum. Thank you. It's going to take place on Saturday, November 2nd, from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. So pretty much an all-day event at the museum. It's a free cultural event for all ages to celebrate. Now you can use this one. What does Dia de los Muertos mean?
Day of the Dead.
Very good, Jake. Where visitors will be immersed in the rich traditions of Dia de los Muertos with activities such as viewing of the community altar, creating really unique crafts, some great live music and dancing performance, and for fun, free face painting for the kids. It's a wonderful event. It has grown every year we've had it. And so we're very pleased to celebrate Hispanic culture in Oshkosh and have people become more aware of the different traditions, such as Dia de los Muertos. And it's a great family fun event. So for more information, you can check out the museum's Facebook page or call Kate over at the Public Museum at 236-5763. And again, that's Saturday, November 2nd.
Yeah, and there's a companion piece to this, Mark, that I believe that they've done a couple of times in the past, where at the Time Community Theater downtown, they're airing the movie Coco. They'll do an English version and then also a Spanish version that day. So you can check out the Facebook page to find out all of the things that are going on. That's just a brief overview of what they have happening, but great event. Dia de los Muertos. I had to try it before we
did great. Yeah,
great.
And I'll do a pit. Coco's a great movie. Bring the kids, you'll love it.
Yeah. Great event, thank you. And then one other thing that's kind of tied in with that time of year, Mark, we just wanted to announce, because this is our last chance before it happens, that Trick or Treat is happening on Halloween like it always does here in the city.
Yep, we do it. We're traditionalists. We have it on October 31st during the week. Because it's a Thursday, it'll be 5 to 7 p.m. So get ready, get your candy ready, or get your kids' costumes ready. Get ready to go out and trick or treat, so everybody has a safe, fun event.
Great. So again, 31st, 5 to 7 p.m. Have fun out there and stay safe. All right, Mark, I think that's it for the first half. We are going to take a quick break here, and when we come back, folks, we will delve into the Oshkosh Common Council agenda that's taking place on October 22nd at 6 p.m. You can watch that live on GovTV as always. So we will take a quick break now, and we'll be right back after this. Everybody, welcome back to the City Manager's Report. Now we're going to delve into the Oshkosh Common Council agenda for the meeting coming up this Tuesday, October 22nd. And Mark, that meeting is going to take place at 6 p.m., but before that happens at 5 o'clock, there's going to be a council workshop regarding undergrounding of utilities.
Yeah, this has been an issue that's of great interest to council members and a lot of questions. And it's a very complicated matter because I think there's a lot of opinions out there in terms of undergrounding of utilities. It's visually much better and everything, but there's a lot more to it, and there's limitations that we have, and so we want to talk to the council about it. We did have a little bit of a survey done that people gave some input on it, and there are a lot of people that have different opinions on it, but depending on what what it looks like, you can see here's a great example of overhead lines, and they are a little disruptive and everything like that. But if there's the smaller the right of way, it makes it harder to bury underground utilities because they're competing with so many other utilities. And so knowing where we can and can't do undergrounding. Newer areas, on the other hand, it's a lot easier to be able to do that because the right-of-way is much wider. Right now, you more get like about 66 feet of right-of-way in new development areas as opposed to something as narrow as, say, 30 to 40 feet. So here's some examples of newer areas where, because the right-of-way is much larger, you can underground all the utilities, including the sewer, the water, the storm sewer that are always underground, but then can you do fiber lines, telephone lines, electrical lines, gas lines, of course, are underground. So it's a very challenging thing to look at, but I think we've got some of the pros and cons and some of the other mitigating factors that are associated with it. So we'll have a good discussion with the council.
Yep, and that'll be a workshop, as you see on your screen, 5 p.m., right before the council meeting on Tuesday. And then once the meeting gets going, Mark, one of the first things we'll do is we'll hear a presentation about an update on the City Hall facility study.
Yeah, this is a project that's been going on for a number of years, and because of the turnover in council, a lot of unfamiliarity with the issue. And the council asked us to take a look at not just the option of redoing this current building in City Hall, but also taking a look at maybe redoing another existing building elsewhere in the community, or what's called a greenfield, brand new building from the ground up. And so we've done an analysis of that. One of the things that's been added to that is the existing building to redo one that's not City Hall. The one that's been identified is the City Center, right downtown, close to the river and everything. So a lot of people know about it. It's a big site, and there's some opportunities there. And there's pros and cons to each different site. So City Center is the site that is an existing building that could get rehabilitated. Of course, the first option is about redoing City Hall itself. A lot of people may not know this. This used to be Oshkosh High School before Oshkosh West and Oshkosh North was built. So City Hall is is 60 years old as a city hall, but it's over 100 years old when you add it all up. So there's challenges with that as well. Plus the challenge of doing a building over when you're still living there. So that's a challenge. How do you deal with that? And then, of course, a green space is pretty straightforward. So we're going to have all that information to present to council and get some feedback from them in terms of where they want to move going forward.
Great. So that'll be a presentation that comes right off the top of the meeting, right at the very beginning. And after that, we'll get into our consent agenda. We've got a few items to talk about on there, Mark. The first one is a resolution to authorize submitting an application to the Wisconsin Economic Development Corporation for our Community Development Investment Grant Program for a project called the Corridor.
Yeah, well, the Corridor, we've also been calling it, the group is called Commonwealth. This is some land that the redevelopment agency has in the process of selling to this group that's doing Corridor. We've seen some of these renderings before, but this is a multifamily housing complex between Jefferson and Main Street, 600 block north of Irving. And in addition to putting some much needed multifamily residential housing in the downtown area, this has the added feature of what's proposed as a 2-shift daycare center, which is much in need here in Oshkosh. Daycare centers are needed in general. 2 shifts are, I don't know if a single one exists right now. So this is something that we definitely want to take a look at. And so we're trying to assist this group with applying for this grant that would go to them to help them with their project.
Yeah, it's identifying some needs in the city, obviously, with housing, and then also with the, like as you mentioned, the second shift daycare, which is rare and folks do need if they work past that 5 or 6 p.m. hours. So great to see projects like this in our downtown. Another resolution on the consent agenda, Mark, we're looking at approving a general development plan for multifamily development at 0 Bowen Street.
This is right at the corner of Bowen and
Murdoch.
And right there, you can see it's right near what people know as a Piggly Wiggly in the corner there, but that area is proposed to have some multifamily housing, which is a great infill project. Got to look at by the Plan Commission, and they're recommending it. But yeah, it's right there at the southwest corner of East Murdoch and Bowen Street. So we're anxious to see how this one moves, but it'll certainly be a welcome addition to our housing stock.
Yeah, another housing addition on our east side, so good to see that. Another resolution, we're going right in a row here, Mark, so far on the consent agenda, is to approve a resolution to declare an end to an emergency issued on May 25th, 2023. And this is in response, folks might remember, to the blockage of the city's water filtration plant intake pipe. But why are we doing this now if the emergency was declared in 2023?
Well, it's interesting because as city manager, I declare the emergencies, but council declares the end to the emergencies. But what we want to do is make sure that we've completed all of our due diligence. People may recall that because of buildup of zebra mussels and on silt and everything, that our intake pipe to our water filtration plant was blocked, and there was also damage to the backup pipe. So we needed to get some emergency repairs done, and quite honestly, we were getting some things dragged out by the DNR, and we sought the assistance of local rep Lori Palmieri. Lori was able to go to governor's office and able to get us this approval, and we got it taken care of. But we had a lot of paperwork to get taken care of after the fact, and so now that we're done with all that paperwork, it's time to declare an end to the emergency. But the pipe is open and working very well, so we're pleased with the process.
And the takeaway for folks here, if they are not aware of how it works procedurally, is that the city manager can declare an emergency, but when the emergency is ready to be ended, council must take action to end that.
Yeah, and that's what happened in this case, and so we're pleased it's over.
Good to know. Thank you. We're moving on now to new resolutions, Mark, and we've got a pair of them that are next to each other, and these both have to do with the area that we were just talking about a little bit over by the water plant. And the first one is to amend the CIP to include Lakeshore Drive reimagination in 2027, and then the one right after that is to approve a professional services agreement for landscape architecture services in that same area.
A lot of people would call what's called our Clearwells project. We've been ordered by the Department of Natural Resources to replace our Clearwells, and I think we've got some good video to show about what it looks like along the lakefront, and that's that little hump towards the front of the photo. There is the Clearwells. They're underground. They have to be put above ground. But we had an ad hoc group because they were quite concerned with the landscaping and how it would look around the area. We do need to proceed with getting the building approved, but there was a concern that because the building project didn't have any landscaping approved, that somehow that was going to be overlooked. So this is a rendering of what the Clear Wells project will look like from the lake, but I think there's a group that feels we could do more with that. And this shows the building of what it would look like without any landscaping. So the idea is to hire a landscape professional, and there's a group called Psyche Design. We've worked with them before on several other items. They do great work, and we'll work with them to develop a landscape plan that'll address what happens both near the Clear Wells as well as in the immediate vicinity. And the project is proposed for a $2.5 million landscaping project. That's kind of the estimated scope of the work. But again, until you get the design done, you're really not going to know.
Right. So keep an eye on this. Obviously, the Clear Wells is a project that's going to be coming to council for several different things. This is one of the first couple, and that project will continue to make its way through the process. Another resolution under new resolutions, Mark, is to approve the 2024 Great Neighborhoods Capital Improvement Program funding in the amount of $58,000.
We've had a lot of great projects come out of the Great Neighborhoods program. So a couple I want to talk about that are kind of underway right now. The William Waters gazebo right across from our library is probably the one that gets the most the most views these days because it's so visible there. So this is the project underway, but we have a rendering of what it'll kind of look like when it's all said and done. We're really proud of that. So now we're saying what's next, and we've got some great projects that have been submitted. Utility wrap boxes have become very familiar because they kind of, the utility boxes are kind of boring, and you add a little local history splash to these things and they really look great. So the River East Neighborhood Association is requesting 4 more of those to get done. And then there's a few more in the Historic Jackson area, their utility wrap boxes. And then a master plan for Quarry Park, as well as the Marigold Terrace there, and then some work over at Stevens Park, getting some path lighting done, things like that, and the George Washington bust over there in near Menominee Park is a third one. So those are areas that we think warrant a good deal of attention, and the neighborhood associations are behind them, and we're talking about spending about $58,000 to get all these things done.
Great. Awesome work being done by our neighborhood associations. Really nice to see those projects come through. And the last thing we're going to talk about here on our agenda today, Mark, is under council discussion, direction to city manager, and future agenda items. And it has to do with the construction that's taking place over on West 7th Avenue.
Well, there were a lot of folks that came to the last meeting and were concerned about the increase in groundwater that they've experienced. I will say 2 things about groundwater. This groundwater has been there for a very long time. Properties that are adjacent to the lake and the river are going to have a high amount of groundwater. But one of the things that has happened with this project in particular is we've installed new sewers in that area because there were a lot of holes in those sewer pipes, and essentially we were pumping clear water over to our sewer treatment plant, which number 1 is not allowed, and number 2 is really a waste of money. So one of the challenges is that now this groundwater is no longer going into our sanitary system, so a lot of it is remaining there. We're committed to working with the neighbors and trying to get some things done. We're looking at hiring what's called a hydrogeologist to take a look at those things. And we've done things in the past with other projects that we've done closer to the water, and we've had some good success. They're certainly having some issues with their sump pumps running a lot more frequently than I think people would like. But that is something we want to help. They have some groundwater issues on their properties, and we're going to do what we can to help them.
Okay. We'll keep an eye on that one as well, Mark. And I think that's all we have time for today. So as always, thank you so much for joining us, and thanks for suffering through a couple of these with me, and thanks for carrying the show as always.
It's been great, Jake. Thanks.
Thank you so much. And thank you guys for joining us as well. Again, that Oshkosh Common Council meeting is coming up on Tuesday, October 22nd. That'll be live on GovTV at 6 p.m. And don't forget about the workshop that happens right before that at 5 on the undergrounding utilities. You can watch both of those on OshkoshMedia.org. If you're looking to stream those, you can find them on Spectrum and AT&T Uverse on cable. Also on Roku, Amazon Fire TV, and Apple TV on the free Oshkosh Media apps. You can stream it live on YouTube as well. And if you are looking to watch it after the fact, either of those meetings, you can watch that and all government meetings that we cover on the Oshkosh Media YouTube channel. So for Mark Roloff, my name is Jake Tim. Thanks for joining us once again today, folks, and we'll see you next time.